Today I want to talk about why standing still is actually going backwards. Now, I know that may sound like a controversial statement, but stay with me as I break down 3 key points and principles that will help you realize that when we're staying still, we're actually going backwards. I'm your host, Daniel James, a mindset and high performance coach, and my job each week is to help guide you towards more confidence, clarity, and ultimately control. Now, this whole episode comes off the back of a book I was reading, and I read this passage. The only way to stop yourself going backwards is to keep going forwards. I took a step back and I thought, well, that's interesting, because I often tell people that sometimes we need to batten down the hatches and just make sure that we're okay. And I do still stand by that. If you're going through something and you're a boat caught in a crazy storm, sometimes you've got to batten down the hatches and just ride it out. I still stand by that. But when we kind of really break this down, it makes a lot more sense. So again, the only way to stop yourself going backwards is to keep going forwards. Now, Newton's first law states that objects at rest stay at rest, and objects in motion stay in motion. So you know this to be true in your own life. When you started to get momentum, things have started to get going in your life, it's easy to keep those habits going. You've started, everything feels good, it's easy because that object, your life, it's got motion. And when things are in motion, it's easier to keep them going. So when you push a car, when that car is at rest, it's very hard to get it going, which is why when we stop doing the things we know we need to do, when we stop doing all these little habits, when we stop, it's very hard to get back going again. So it's really important to realize this law, Newton's first law, it applies not just to objects, it applies to us and our life. Because our brain's neural pathways weaken without regular activation. So yes, we may start practicing a new skill. We build up that skill and then we just stop. And again, that neural pathway will weaken. Just like a path. If you keep walking down the same path, and try and walk down a new path, the first few times you walk down that path, the grass will start to flatten. You'll start to become a bit of a path. However, the moment you go back to the original path, the new path, the grass will start to grow back up again because you haven't gone through it enough times to actually forge that path properly. And it all comes down to that use it or lose it principle. And there were studies done with London taxi drivers. And I'm not sure if you know about London taxi drivers. I'm not sure if this is still the case, but it definitely was back in the day. You had to overcome very rigorous tests of knowing where all these streets were. And they had this massive amount of knowledge about street names, and you had to memorize them all. So these taxi drivers had an enlarged hippocampus because that's the part that memorizes street names. It's all about to do with your memory. But then the funny thing that happened is once they retired, that part of their brain, the hippocampus, started to shrink again because they weren't using it. And because they weren't using it, they started to lose it. Just like that path, the new path you're starting to walk down. As soon as you step off that path, the grass starts to grow again. Now, the second thing here was talking about why does stagnation equal regression? But why? Why is staying still actually going backwards? Because it doesn't really make sense. Because if you're staying still, surely you should stay the same. Why would you go backwards? Well, something called entropy. I always get the word wrong. Entropy. And this talks about how everything in nature tends towards disorder without energy input. So, for example, when it comes to your fitness, when you miss a few weeks, you will naturally start to lose strength. If you have a skill, let's say you're a speaker, if you don't speak regularly, you will start to lose your fluency. Or how about knowledge? If you don't keep regularly updating the knowledge that you're reading, you're studying, you're researching, the information you do have becomes outdated. Because once again, as it says, entropy, everything in nature tends towards disorder without energy input. If you're not putting energy into your learning, it's going to move towards disorder. It's going to become outdated. Or how about confidence? If you aren't regularly getting small wins, if you aren't regularly told that you're doing a good job, self-doubt is going to start to kick in. The only way to destroy entropy is with energy, action. Actually taking action on the thing that you want to keep moving forward. Because if you don't, then you're going to start to go back. And to take this point to another thing, take this point to another level. Eternal vigilance is the price of success. Now, this may sound like paranoia, but it's not. Which means you've got to be eternally vigilant. What we're talking about here is you've got to be consciously aware and take intentional action of daily maintenance. So once you've got this thing that you want, this life, you've developed this skill, whatever it is, you have to keep maintaining it, because if you don't maintain it, you will lose it. Because entropy will kick in. Newton's first law will kick in. Because it's not staying in motion, it's going to start to slow down until it eventually stops. And a great metaphor that I like to use with this is the garden analogy. So you can have the most beautiful garden in the world, but it needs daily attention. It's not something you do once a week, once a month. It's daily attention, just like brushing your teeth, or even better, deodorant. If you spray deodorant once, you're not done, because you're going to start to smell again. Every day, you've got to take a shower, spray that deodorant, so you're staying nice and fresh. Same with this garden. Because if you don't, the weeds, which in this case is your bad habits, those negative thought patterns, they grow a lot faster than the flowers or the good habits. So as soon as you stop looking after that garden, taking care and nurturing the flowers, pulling out those weeds, the weeds will actually grow quicker than the flowers. Those negative thoughts, those bad habits, they will start to creep in quicker than you realize. You're either cultivating growth or allowing decay. Are you allowing certain areas in your life to decay? Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's your finances, because you're not spending the relevant time or giving it the relevant attention. Because even the best garden in the world can be overtaken by weeds in just weeks if it's neglected. So some common momentum killers, some things that will kill your momentum, your progress, is perfectionism, that all or nothing mindset that you've got, comparison, or a lack of systems. Are you just leaving it up to chance, hoping that your life goes in the way that you want it to go, or do you have some form of system? The system I like to use is called the power list, win the day. And again, if you look back from these episodes, again, I think we're 347. I've spoke about all of these in detail. We spoke about perfectionism. We spoke about the all or nothing mindset. We spoke about comparison. We spoke about the lack of system. All of these things kill your momentum. And once that momentum stops, it's so hard to get going again. Just keep thinking about that car. Once that car's in motion, it's fine. You get the car rolling, you can probably push it with one hand. But it's that initial getting going. That's the problem. So it's making sure we're focusing on consistency over intensity. Rather than just trying to go straight off the gate, intense, it's all about those small actions. Because those small actions trump sporadic mass efforts. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you take any value from today, don't forget to share it with a friend. Help us to spread the word to help as many people as possible. Until next time, take it easy.